think we've got this. Shit all about that. Hey, we have finally got. Welcome, welcome, come and see here. It actually worked right on the first try. I don't know what the hell I did right. Okay. Welcome to Dungeons and Doggos, where all of my attention that was normally devoted to gaming has been taken up by two abandoned dogs that have kind of taken over my life for a little while. But you're going to have to... You can't just have two good doggos dumped on your yard and not have something to do about it. So this is a Q&A, so if anybody's got any Qs, I will A them. It's, what, the 8th inning, Astros up 5-0, the Yankees look lost. Good times. So, we've got, there's a lot of... What was that? So I did have somebody ask me a question before this even started, and that was he's getting ready to run a Shadowrun game. He's like, how do you start a Shadowrun game? Shadowrun game, fortunately, is much like Cyberpunk and the way you have to set it up. If you're going to do one, you got to figure out how you're going to be playing what your campaign's going to look like, because there's just so many things to do in Shadowrun. So many ways to play it. So many places you can do it. Last time I played in Shadowrun, we were running a Bug City, though I know Bug City is dead and gone as far as campaign settings because they cleared it out. But it was, you're playing a survivor in what's left of Chicago with all the bug spirits eating it. And so when you're sitting down for your session 0, find out what your players want to play. If you have an idea for a game, tell them in advance, this is what I want to do. This is what kind of setting I want to do. You want to be a mercenary campaign? You want to do a straight up Shadowrunner campaign? And then build around that. Tell them what you want to do and let them build characters, and then customize what you were going to do after that to be around to their characters. So you're both working together to get a better campaign. That's how they become memorable. And so that answers that question. Let me see. I know people wanted me to ask about what's going on with Wizards of the Coast, especially with a lot of the news this week. Wizards is not inspiring confidence in me right now. Okay, so the previous head of Hasbro drops dead. So they move over the guy from Wizards and put in charge of Hasbro. This guy used to be over at Microsoft. Well, then he appoints the new head of Wizards, who's also somebody from Microsoft. And then he put somebody over Ray, and she's also from Microsoft. You're noticing a pattern here. And then Ray stepped down, and Ray again was, he was old school TSR. He worked with TSR during the second edition days. He wrote the Underground game, and I believe he was the editor for Dragon Magazine for a while. So he's got a lot of chops. He knows how to write a game. He knows how to run a business. But he was let go because they're looking to move D&D away from D&D. They're looking to make it digital. They're looking to make it... This is Hasbro. There's going to be My Little Pony D&D. There's going to be... let me see. Yeah, there's going to be New York D&D. There's going to be, Melniborn D&D. There's going to be everything. If you've got a product and you want to slap D&D on it, Hasbro will sell you that. Because that's what Hasbro does. Why do you think there's 100,000 editions of Monopoly, Clue, and Risk out there? And I'm afraid that's what they're going to be doing. Is they're going to be moving everything away from the tabletop and moving it all into digital. And that's not a good thing. That's absolutely not a good thing. Because if you move it too far from the base, you lose your base. That's something. Yeah, Transformers D&D. They've already got G. Okay. Had a little glitch there. Okay, which doesn't make any sense because we've had the internet fixed. Yeah, you take out the human element if you do that, and the Mr. Welch list is about 50% of it's based on 4 words, with the DM going, "You want to do what?" All right. You can improvise if it's a human DM. If it's a computer DM, you can't improvise. I'm running Icewind Dale right now on the computer while I'm playing it with some of the most messed up named characters. And it's like, if I wanted to go break down a door to see what's behind it, you can't do that because the computer game isn't programmed to do that. If you come across a barred door and it's locked up shut in a tabletop game, you take out the axes and you chop that door down. Computer game, you can't do that. It's hardwired. It's hard-coded. Yeah, it's OBS being a bitch. Alright, so go back to the Shadowrun real quick. Setting is Tampa, Florida, because of how sparse the lore is. Reading off of Librarian. All of the newcomers and myself. Organized crime runs. Yeah. I would work out about 5 to 10 missions or shadow runs in advance to get people into a rhythm. See what they like, and then work off of that. The best campaigns are organic. You don't want to plan too far in advance. Yeah, it's like, and they've got the D&D 6th edition, or D&D, or 1 D&D, or odd D&D, or yeah, they're working on that, and I am not impressed. I am not impressed right now because I'm not really sure how to put it. It's like, okay, you've got the experts. All right, so you've got Bard, you've got Rogue, you've got Rangers. Let me see, and let me get to your question in a minute, Victor. And it's supposed to be the experts. Well, the Rangers they're falling into the problem with the Rangers that they had in their 3rd edition, where they're front loading it. So if you want to get all this neat, cool stuff with like plus 2d6 damage because you have Hunters 1 spell that does extra d6. Okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to dip into Ranger to get the plus 2d6 and then go back into my regular class. And it's starting to become very cookie cutter, which I will get angry about in a sec. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to get angry over a game. Okay, Victor D20. Do Entropic Immortals ever twist their followers, like give them new arms, make them grow massive fangs, etc.? Actually, yes. That's actually in a upcoming video about the fiends of D&D. They will turn them into demonic creatures for their own. Yeah. So let me see. Yeah, and the 1 D&D seems to be, they're trying to make it the most cookie cutter, bland vanilla. It's like, okay, well, here's the new rules. All right, if you want to play a half race, just pick one race, pick the race you want to look like, but give them all the abilities of another race. Okay, that is boring. And that's what kind of rule is that? It's like, okay, well, if you want to play a Klingon, but you like the Vulcan stats, just play him as a Klingon and use all the rules for Vulcans. No. Yeah, okay. And that is that's just, or the joke we had was when me and some friends sat down and tried to break it, and we had the Ardling, the furry creature. And it's like, well, I'm going to be a half dwarf, half Ardling. It's like, he looks like a dwarf, but his mother was a hummingbird. So whenever he flies, he just puts his arms out like this and then flaps them super fast to fly. It's gonna be the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I like it, but it's still the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And they just seem to be okay. Okay, guys, OBS is having all sorts of fun with me tonight, so this is going to be an odd one. Yeah, they're working on they have a really bad habit, and I've mentioned this repeatedly, that they've got an absolute issue with they fall into formulas. All the races seem to follow the same formula. All the classes seem to follow the same formula. Everybody is getting magic, whether you want it or not. It's like, okay, well, I'm an elf. Okay, well, here's your spells. I don't want to be a spellcasting elf. I'm a elf fighter. It's like, well, you're an elf fighter, and here are your spells, because all elves get spells. What if you don't want them to get spells? well, then you're not an elf, are you? Well, here's your dwarf. Okay, well, I'm going to be a dwarf. And it's like, okay, well, here's your spells. It's like, okay, dwarves don't get spells. Well, now they do, because this is 6th edition D&D, and everything gets a spell, and you want to play 6th edition D&D, don't you? Then shut up and take your spells. And your dark vision. Let me see. Victor asked another Mr. How many Frost Giants is too many? When the players start tapping out, that's too many. Yeah, OBS is really messing with me tonight, which is odd because I have a good signal strength. I don't know what the problem is. D&D has been a fad. Been a fad for years, and the fad is starting to fade. That's strike 3, OBS. I'm having issues with the streaming software, and they're telling me I'm not the only one. Yeah, so, yeah, D&D became a fad, and you can oversaturate your market, and they've done that. They're starting to do that. The last few products have been meh to bad. Okay, I'm still finding Spelljammer starting sets is not the Spelljammer collector's editions are still in stores. That would normally sell out in days. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what's going to happen, Sarah. Do I think Parchmental Alchemist? Do you think that the fad is going away will be a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. There's too many things that can happen one way or the other. If they start to lose money, they might replace the people that they blame for losing the money. Because Hasbro lost a lot of money from Wizards. Blame a lot of it on Magic, but the latest D&D products have not been barn burners. Again, Spelljammer. All right, that's not what Spelljammer to start with back in 2nd edition was not a very good setting. They admit that. The Jeff Grubb, the guy that wrote it, flat out said that they only put it out because they were told to come up with a sci-fi game, and they were told to cancel all remaining sci-fi games because they were going to move sci-fi to D&D, and he said that's not going to work with these rule set, and he was right. So you had all those years to fix Spelljammer, but then they put out a book that doesn't have planet creation, doesn't have starship creation or Spelljammer creation, doesn't go into the worlds of the other settings. It's like, well, we don't want to have a background setting. It's like some of the best books. TSR made a huge amount of money on their setting books, on their novels. Okay, yeah, they put out too much stuff, but when they put out good stuff, people bought the good stuff. The problem was they put out more bad stuff than they did good stuff. Yeah. Who do you bet taking on D&D's throne like World of Darkness or Pathfinder did? I don't know yet. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to capture OSR, or the OSR title, but the OSR titles is you're watching a field of a lot of people that look the same and dress the same. And this time it's not my streaming service, though I was told that we will be getting, in approximately 3 months, we will be getting fiber optic finally. I'll believe that when I see it. All right, you got Radiant Citadel, which was okay. Yeah, and then you had Strixhaven, which was one of the worst books they've written, probably up there with up there for the title of most or the worst 5th edition book. So the quality of the product has not been good lately. You know, they came out with those the new tiles, which had the vinyl stick on. It's like, we did that in 1980, and it was. The problem is the vinyl's going to wear out. You're charging way too much. How will they screw up Planescape in 2023? That is easily flammable. Ghost. They're going to take out all of the factions' actual philosophies, the ones they based on real world philosophies, to try to make it so that they don't step on anybody's toes, because God forbid somebody get upset. I mean, they're talking about how it's like, okay, no, well now devils can be any alignment. Well, that doesn't make them devils, then, does it? It's like, okay, everybody. It's like we're gonna make we're gonna make the Nazi party, but you can be from any country. They're trying to get rid of alignments, and alignments are a tool, and it's a useful tool. But because some people don't like them, But I mean, there's a lot of people that complain. It's like, well, we don't like this, so nobody else can use this. Okay, it's better to have too much than not enough, because I can strip out the stuff that I don't like rather than having to homebrew the rules that are missing. And that's something that they have not. That's something they haven't seemed to grab. They haven't seemed to grab. Do you think trying to market the settings more, like trying to make them into large universe that every media is trying to do now, would have been a good idea, or no? If you do it right. All right. Every setting has an audience. All right. And they didn't seem to grasp that. Because it's all Forgotten Realms all the time. But Forgotten Realms is, heroes and big name NPCs and oh my god. But if you're going to market Mystara, which they never will because real world cultures and you can't do real world cultures. But Mystara is best known outside the United States. Hell, the Italians took my Mystara book. They asked me, hey, can we translate this? Yeah, sure. And not only did they translate it, they marketed it, they printed it out, and they just did a complete, just phenomenal job. And now it's like people are, there's companies that are going to conventions in Italy specifically to get people to get print jobs for them, just for that book, because Mystara does well outside the U.S. because the Beckme system was marketed outside the U.S. more than anything else. Okay, we're going to have D&D Japan, so the Japanese are going to be looking, oh, what happened to Capcom game? It's like, well, we're not going to do that, but we liked the Capcom game. The Capcom game was awesome. The Capcom game, the Shadows over Mystara, is one of the greatest beat-em-ups of all time, and it's been described as the best beat-em-up of all time. It's like, you can flood the market, but if you market these products to different people, it's like, it's Halloween. Every October they should have had a new Ravenloft book come out, because Ravenloft is horror. D&D question: Among the Damned, thoughts on creating core Academy RPG dungeon crawl town that matches the creators' fantasy tabletop or fantasy novel using core Academy to generate interest, basically. Somebody explain to me what core Academy is. That sounds familiar, but I'm blanking at the moment. Yeah, and it's like, if you do like a mix and match, that'll always work, because people, like trying to do something all by yourself is difficult. Just ask me. Are there equivalents in Mystara akin to Black's Runesword Stormbringer? Yeah, it's in the Wrath of the Immortals book, but it never actually saw play. It's one of those. It's just a regular, super powerful artifact sword, but it's just there. They never actually brought it out. So, Hasbro has been losing. Wizards is losing money. Most people blame Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I've listened to the Magic the Gathering people, and yes, they really screwed up a lot of the Magic the Gathering. What the hell's on this side of my face? Let me see. Yeah, I've got the new Cyberpunk book. I'm still reading it, trying to get it to review. And because I've got that one. It's just a bunch of adventures. It's not an actual source book. It's more just a bunch of adventure feeds. And it's like, you can. Yeah, they needed to address the new stuff or the old stuff by introducing it to new people. Because look at, like I said, Mystara. It came out. We got 35,000 downloads, which is amazing. Unless you're a Forgotten Realms fan, they're like, well, that's nothing. You should see how much the Forgotten Realms sold. Yeah, they ramped up the release schedule like crazy. I'm not looking forward to Dragonlance. It's a new reimagining of Dragonlance that starts with time travel. Okay, though. Yeah. Okay, a new reimagining that starts with time travel is never words you want to hear describing a nostalgic return to one of your favorites. Let me see. Parchment Alchemist, do you think they will sell the D&D license at some point? No, Hasbro never sells IP. They will license it out, but they will never sell it. That is Hasbro, till all are one. Let me see. Benjamin Sun. Is Magic the Gathering really losing its market share to Pokemon? I don't think they're losing their market share, but from what I understand, they've been spamming out stuff so much that people can't complain. They just made an announcement that they didn't realize how much what was it, market sensitive their players were turning out to be. Meaning they can't afford it anymore because they can't buy all this stuff because you're putting it out too much. And it's like what was it? They're saying that the Baldur's Gate box set has replaced Homelands and Forgotten Empires as the worst D&D or the worst Magic the Gathering set of all time because they released it. It didn't have hardly anything powerful in it, and then a few weeks later they released they released another set after that. So it was gone by the time people had actually tried to discover it. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, they're talking about the 2077 Edge Runners. I don't like anime. We tried watching it. We did try watching it. That art was hideous. My wife said that the plot was too gonzo for her, and she does like anime. Okay, she lasted about 20 minutes into it. I lasted maybe 5. Like, okay, this art is hideous. This is pure nightmare fuel for me, and I can't watch this. I'm happy that other people have found Cyberpunk through Edge Runner, but Edge Runners is not for me. The art's bad. Those characters were annoying. Let me see. And yeah, they. Oh. They had an idea for Red, and they gave him the money. Pondsmith knows what he's doing. Let me see. What's the worst licensed product I own? Oh, that would be the Leading Edge Games Alien RPG. Yeah. We don't like to talk about that one. That one was one of the worst licensed products ever. But yeah. Wizards of the Coast is losing money on D&D. It's starting to fade. Okay, now that people are getting out, not a lot of people. Okay, not as many people are playing online as they should or as they used to because we're allowed to do that now. So the only reason why a lot of people were playing D&D online was because they were required to. Yeah, and they need to get Mike Pondsmith as the voice actor for the next lead character for the next Cyberpunk. I mean, seriously, you've got Mike Pondsmith, that voice, and you're not using it to the fullest extent. Granted, the one time I did actually got to play with Pondsmith, it was for Cyberpunk 3rd, so it's like watching Michelangelo show off his kids' refrigerator pictures. And if 6th edition screws up, if 6th edition screws up, somebody will be there to catch them. It always is. 3rd or 2nd edition didn't read the Ruin Empire came out. 3rd edition switched to 4th edition, and people didn't want to switch to 4th edition, so Pathfinder came out. Somebody's going to is going to pick up the bat where Wizards of the Coast messes up, and people will flock to it because people appreciate quality. Let me see. Yeah, they need to stop doing stuff on the cheap. Hold on. Okay, you guys are really... Let me see. The worst RPG I own? Yes, I do own World of Cinnabar, and yes, that is... It's hard to argue with that not being the worst. Die Ghost Fish. Mike Pondsmith is in Cyberpunk 2077. He is the DJ for Morrow Rock Radio, and if you get to the point where Johnny is sitting there with his Ripper Doc, that's Mike Pondsmith. Benjamin Sun, do you still have 10,000 points of Chaos Dwarfs at home? No, when the price went through the roof on those guys a long time ago, I sold them and bought a pinball machine. Yeah, holy crap, I played with Pondsmith. It was, which convention was it? Not ACON. AggieCon? I don't know, I've been to 1,000 of them. Let me see. Core Academy allows you to sell your core created RPG and retain 50% of the profit, or you can you create your own. Yeah. Let me see. First edition Pathfinder Forever. Yeah, it's like you get math. It'll probably be a new player. Okay, Parchment Alchemist. I believe it'll be a new player in the game because Paizo is pretty locked in with Pathfinder, and a lot of people didn't like the second edition Pathfinder. And from what I understand, the sales haven't been that impressive either. Let me see. I do hope there's going to be more Cyberpunk coming out because that's what that game needs is the source books. The price of printing has gotten things down substantially. Though everything's going through drive-through-RPG, and that's 50%. They take a 50% cut. Granted, YouTube is really screwing with prices, and like when you do donations through YouTube, I think they take a 40% cut. It's like, hey, here's $1. Great, we'll be taking 40 cents of that. Yes, insult your fans. That always works. Let me see. Let's see. What Red needs is a weapons and combat overhaul. Yeah, it does. As much as okay, I do love 2077. It had some issues. I wasn't a big fan of the plot, but the atmosphere was amazing. And I keep finding stuff every time I play again. I'm on playthrough number 12. Let me see. Yeah, they're trying to... Okay, Wizards is trying to branch everything out, and they're going to try to make it so like, now you have to get online, which is my greatest fear, is collectible core rules. Hey, guys, we're going to be playing this, and it's like we're going to be playing D&D. Does anybody have the chapter on magic? Because those are rare, and I haven't been able to get one yet. I keep giving them $3.50 for my rules booster packs, but I haven't pulled the rules on magic yet. Though I've got like 5 rules for surviving desert combat, because those are common. Yeah, and then YouTube has a crazy cut. I understand Twitch is about to blow up, but that's because it's Twitch, and Twitch is one copyright violation lawsuit from going away. Let me see. It's find out what the people want. They kept going with over and over again. They kept going back to Forgotten Realms, and they only kept going back to a sliver of Forgotten Realms, and once they kept going back to that, people got tired of it because you look at third edition fleshed out the Forgotten Realms with some amazing source books. And that's what a lot of games will explode because of the background lore. We were comparing the 40k RPGs, Dark Heresy, which has some glaring rules issues, and some amazing support, and with some really clunky character creation. You had Wrath and Glory, which is very simple. You can play anything you want. Doesn't have a lot of background material. And then if you compare the two, everybody loves Dark Heresy because it's all about gave us the day-to-day operations of the Imperium. And Wrath and Glory didn't. It's like, hey, you can play anything you want to. And it's like, well, we want background. We want to go to the processional of the damned. We want to go to the world where everybody is a slave except for the guy at the top, and he owns somebody who owns other people, and they own people until everybody's owned, and they all go up to the one guy at the top. People like fluff. It's because you can sit there and read the book while you're in bed. It's like, hey, this is something new, and it gives you new ideas. Cyberpunk 2013, 2020 Red, supposed to be retro futurism. Yes and no, because Cyberpunk 2020 was predicting what the world was going to be like in 30 years, and they got a surprisingly large amount of it correct. That was actually kind of the only thing he said that he didn't get correct that he wished he had was how powerful cell phones were going to be in the future. Because he got everything, and the keeping the Soviet Union. Okay, and we're back. Thanks, OBS. You're just randomly turning off. Yeah, you want to give the players more options. If you want to do 6th edition, you want to give the players more options, but you also want to not overlap. Like, okay, so fighters can do all of this stuff. It's like, well, what if we gave them spells? Like, no, that would be overlapping into wizards. You have the fighter that's good in mounted combat, the fighter that's good at. You had the centurion. For the sword and shield commander type, you had the Mongol horse warrior. You had the Toa Makai, which is the Polynesian warrior. You had all these guys, and they all had their own different fighting style, and they were all focused on that. And there's like 6 of them. The Gallowglass, the run forward and kill the wizard before the wizard turns me to ash. Well, they turned out to be just an Alpha Strike fighter. Because, people are like, well, we like the PDFs. Yeah, but there's a lot of people interested in a knock on wood book, especially considering that what they're selling PDFs for and what they're selling on demand or print on demand for isn't much of a difference. And you cannot kill a cockroach with a PDF. And 5th edition had a lot of promise all those years ago, but they needed to add to it, and they didn't. They kept catering to people that were not going to be their core players. I'm still one book. Yeah, let me see. All this not D&D nonsense. When I picked up Cyberpunk 2020, Dark Heresy 2nd, and Mech Warrior Destiny. Haven't seen Mech Warrior Destiny. I'm still trying to complete my my Rogue Trader. I'm one book away. I'm also one book away from completing my Star Wars D6. And it's let me see. If I can get a physical. Wrestling Theater. What would be your main advice for anybody trying to homebrew into a working format and put it into a book? Play it till you hate it. Seriously, just keep playing that take everybody, have them play it, tell them what you like about it, play test every single aspect, and just keep playing it until you are so sick and tired of your own damn game that you never want to see it again. And when you get to the point of you never want to see your game again because you are tired of it, you have every page memorized, then it's ready. Learned that at Reaper. Had to play Dark Heaven Apocalypse 2nd edition every day for 6 months. That was, I got assigned the Vikings. I didn't even get to pick my army. They said, okay, you're the Vikings. Let me see, what Rogue Trader book do I need? Faith and Coin, the last one they put out. They were going to be putting out the Tau supplement, but that never saw physical print. So if I could get a copy, I could probably do a POD on it. And then I'm trying to find the Faith and Coin. I haven't seen it go for less than $100, and even that was for a damaged copy. The Fantasy Flight source books, the Fantasy Flight 40K source books that aren't just the regular adventures, people think those are stitched on gold leaf. And if anybody's going to ask what the Star Wars is, it's the adventure Crisis on Cloud City that comes with the Sabacc deck. Good luck finding that one. It's like people want to play. A lot of people like specialists. You don't want to make every character into a generalist, because what's the point? Hey guys, we're all equally good at everything. Then why do I need you? It's like it's like watching like a heist movie where it's like, okay, I need a locksmith, I need a lockpick, I need a safecracker, I need an alarm guy, I need a getaway driver, I need a thug. Nobody can be all of these, so you throw it together like that. Let me see. Tyrone Lee, perhaps unify combat and distinguish classes via roleplay. Is distinct combat roles a required thing in tabletop? Exalted did something like that. No, but you always want to keep it an option, because somebody's eventually going to want to play Inigo Montoya. It's like the guy that's been practicing to be really good with the sword to the point of where he can like drop 4 guys before, as the book said for the Princess Bride, the last one was dead before the first one had hit the floor. Because some people like to play specialists. Some people like to play generalists. Don't neglect one for the other. Make them all an option. People will listen up, you primitive screwheads, where Pondsmith was addressing some of the really annoying specialists, like the bulletproof medic, where this one guy just like Borgs out and he does all of this stuff, but he's a pacifist and his only job is to get to people and fix them. It's like, how do you stop a guy like that? He's not shooting back, but he's like, performing first aid in the middle of a firefight. He's like, is he having fun? Is he disrupting the game? Let him. Let me see. Crisis on Cloud City is it's the one. I just remember it was the one with the Sabak deck. It was the that one was Starfall. You need a healer, at least 1 DPS, a tank. Like, yeah, but I've also had games where we over specialize. I played an all paladin game. That was fun. An all rogue game. That was fun. An all bard game. The rogue game had problems because people couldn't make it on time. It's like it's like you can do stuff. Or like they can have generalist stuff. Rollmaster has a lot of generalist stuff, and they're like, they're the second best at everything. They're not great at anything, but they're not bad at anything. Generalists have their role. They're never going to be the top dog. They're never going to be the guy that you're going to have to try to hit the home run. But if somebody is lacking a skill, that's what you got him for. He's your backup on so many things. There's a lot of ways to play a rogue. That was one of the ways, like when I was doing my book, was when I put together the 2 rogues I had, neither of them are very combat oriented, and people couldn't stand that at all. It's like, well, you can't do that. That's it's like you gotta give them some combat skills, because it's like, what happened to the 3 pillars? It's like, okay, the 3 pillars for 5th edition D&D is melee combat, missile combat, and magic combat. Those are your 3 pillars for 5th edition. Let me see. What advice would you have for a new creator to release a system source book for a game? I've done this before, and if you ever get a chance to, if you're ever going through a used bookstore and you find The Complete Paladin by Red Dragon Press, spend the $1 to get that book and then burn it, because I never want to see a copy of that book ever. They stripped me completely out of that one. I took their money, they took my words, they changed them to make them their words. The book sucked. Everything that I threw into it was completely changed, and they went out of business and died. Yeah. Okay, so create a system source book. First off, set yourself an outline of what you're going to be covering. That way you don't want to expand too much. You don't want to bloat your game, because if you don't, you will. And then once you start doing that, write more than you need. So if you figure 64 pages, that's a good round number for a source book, because you can go up from there. So if you say 64 pages, write 96. Then that way you can cut it down. As an editor, I will always appreciate somebody who gives me it more than I need, more than 10%, and the editor will not like you. We're talking about, because that way, you guys are asking me, like, who's going to make the next big game, and it's like, okay, had to be me. Somebody else might get it wrong. But right now we are, unfortunately for game writing, real world things are taking precedent. If we're going to keep these dogs, because there's nobody fostering dogs right now. There's no rescues taking in dogs. There's nobody. Everybody is full up. believe me, we've tried. We've tried across the state. We've tried across the southern United States. But we're going to have to build a fence. I own about an acre of land out here, but we need a fence that they can run in because we can't just let them run free. And we're going to have to get that price and do a GoFundMe, because it's probably going to be close to $1,000. And it's $1,000 that if we had $1,000 right now that we could spend, we would be spending it on anything other than dogs, because we have bills and money's tight right now, unfortunately. So, but we'll more on that. I mean, Harpo's a good dog, but we have a postage stamp size backyard, and if we fence it out, then if we fence out the thing, then they will be running for miles. Let me see. For an unknown creator, how would you get an editor and a publisher for a book? Okay, first off, you can pay people to edit your books. There is a host of services that will pay people to edit the book. And always get somebody to edit your book. Once you get that, you need to start looking for publishers. Spam out all these different companies that are like working on product, especially the ones that have something similar. You might be able to find somebody that's willing to post up your book, or just take it from you entirely. And that's a big choice. It's like, okay, I make a book. Somebody goes, all right, I'll give you X amount of money, but this is now mine. If you want to keep it your baby, it's like, do you want to live, or do you want to live with yourself? Because with these situations, you can't do both. You will get paid. They will pay you a certain amount of money. You will be happy with that money. You will be able to say that you are a published author, and then they will go and do whatever they want with it. Thanks to J.K. Rowling's, most publishers are not going to be giving people the big packages that they used to get. The author got a lot of say in their former like the royalties and stuff, because I don't remember who her publisher was, but she bent him over the table. Seriously, they now have, thanks to Rowling's, they now have amusement park clauses in modern contracts. Let me see. I'm making a board game that I want playtested. Any advice getting an NDA written? There's a lot of generic NDAs you can get from some of the legal sites that are already pre-written for you, and just fill out the blanks. Those aren't expensive. It's just a legal document, and most NDAs are the same. It's like, if you say X about our product before we tell you to, you get one from a legal site that are written by lawyers, and buy one from there, and they will explain everything. That's I had to do an NDA once, and that's it. That is a legal document, and you need to talk to somebody with a legal degree, or at least a law license, because that way you'll know it'll be enforceable, at least if they're competent. Yeah. So, yeah, and it's okay. So we're looking at. I still haven't done the Q&A for the hey, what did you think about the new rule set, or the new playtest rules? First off, it's hard to, without seeing all the rules, it's really hard to tell you if these are good or bad. Like, what do you think about the Rangers? Like, well, how does it work? So let me see. Let me see. Yep, OBS decides to. Let me see. Ironcaster. Okay, go back to. Let me finish the Julian Glover. He was in Back to the Future as Marty McFly's dad, and he wanted more money to be in the sequel. I said, no, you're not going to get more money to be in the sequel, but we're still going to use you, but we're not going to pay you for your image. And he took him to the cleaners. Crispin Glover. Sorry, not Julian Glover. Crispin Glover. Thank you. One of the Glover guys. It's certainly not Danny. He took him to the cleaners because he's like, you can't use my likeness in your movie if you don't pay me. Same reason why Michael Biehn in Alien 3, when he didn't want to be in the movie because he read the script. And they said, well, we're going to still use a still footage of you. And it's like, okay, well, you're going to give me $1 million for a 3-second still shot. All right, so let me see. How does the ranger compare to a fighter with a bow? Well, without knowing what the rules for the fighters are, the ranger with the bow, as the power gamers have put out, it says they're damage monkeys right now, because you're going to Hunter's Mark, which gives you a D6 damage for anything, and then you've got a spell which gives you a D6 damage again. So you're going to shoot that bow, and you're getting 2d6 on top of everything else. So right now the ranger is the DPS king. Yeah, no, and but he doesn't really strike us as an outdoorsy guy. He doesn't have any bonuses whatsoever to the exploration part of D&D. Not one. He's all damage, weapons. I get some spells. Okay, what do you do to, how do you help us track down the orc? What do you mean? Well, you're a ranger. Here, I need you to look at this footprint and tell me, what this is. Will I get expertise in survival? Well, so does a lot of other classes. What makes you better than those? You are the premier outdoor survivalist. You are a ranger. That's what you do. It's like, well, I get +2 to my dice rolls to track them down. Yeah, that's what I do. I get +2. Anything else? No, just +2. I get another +1 when my proficiency bonus goes up. So your entire bonus for being in the super premier outdoorsy survivalist type is +10% to your outdoor rolls. That's it. That's all you've got. Nothing else. Well, yeah, this is because people don't like me being tied to being outdoors. What happens if I have to take the ranger indoors? You're taking away my bonuses if I go indoors. So I don't want my bonus. You don't give me bonuses outside if I can't get bonuses inside. Okay, have you guys ever actually designed a game? Because that's you're kind of you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater here. Let me see, Parabellum. Yeah, the Devil's being allowed to have different alignments again. Again, I mentioned that earlier when we first got started, and that's again they don't know how to do alignment. They haven't known how to do alignment for 5th edition. Well, they did a masterful job for alignment in 3rd edition, which I don't know what happened between 3rd and 5th. It was like that's one of the things that we're worried about with Planescape. What if you do how do you do Planescape without alignments? Have you guys ever designed a game in regards to the Wizards crowd? The computer says no. Yeah. How do you do Planescape without alignment? That's the major point of Planescape. Is you've got the alignments fighting each other like they're military factions. It'll be a cold day in hell before I let my daughter marry somebody chaotic neutral. And it was, you've got, they've built mechanics around alignments in several games, but apparently they don't want to do alignments because it's like, well, you don't have to play that way if you don't want to, because we're going to go to the flaws and the ties and all the charts. We're going to give everybody a page of charts you have to roll on. It's like, or we could just explain your character's outlook on life with 2 letters, LG, LN, LE, CN, CE, NG. Yeah, the belief changes reality. That's the point of Planescape. And then they're trying to take away then they're taking away the physical attributes of races and trying to take away the social attributes of races. Dwarves are stubborn. That's the point of being dwarves. It's like they're all the they can be stubborn about different things, but they're still supposed to be stubborn. They unless you're Peter Jackson with his like wanting to give Legolas a back rub every single time, was like, haha, I'm an elf. It's like, I'm going to drink all these people under the table. It's like, but generally dwarves are like the ones that oh, just pick it, just take up, pick up the rotting meat, scrape off the parts with the plague on it, eat the rest, you'll be fine. You're a dwarf. Yes, hello, Pedar Warun. Yes, we are discussing dwarves and dragons, Dungeons and Dragons. Let me see. Yes, Wrestling Theater. That is the deal of Mage the Ascension, where you have people arguing over what reality is. Yeah. You have a problem, or I don't know how you would put it. It's like you have either have a problem or you have somebody that needs to be paid more when somebody convinces that the bad guys were right in the middle of the game with the technocracy, and the fan base agrees with you. And that's what made Mage stand out more than everybody else. It's like, you've got the Camarilla versus the Sabbat, and the Sabbat are all evil, and it's like, because they murder people and butcher people, and it's like, trying to use humans for cattle. And then you've got the Guru versus the Worm, and the Worm is evil because they're trying to corrupt, turn everybody into mutants and destroy the world, and like turn, and stuff like that. And you've got the traditions versus the technocracy, and the technocracy are bad because they want to get rid of all these supernatural creatures that are trying to poison the world and kill everybody and turn them into cattle, and make it so that humans aren't hunted for sport by other supernatural creatures. And you're not convincing me that you haven't convinced me yet that these are the bad guys. And it's like, what do you guys do? It's like, well, we do blood rituals to to make people healthy. And what do you guys do? We invented Tylenol. Okay, I'm that's 1 point for Tylenol boy there. Yeah, let's see. Let me see. What do we got? If your enemy was dead and you are alive, then your argument was clearly superior. Yeah. Yeah, Bear Forever DM. We had so many people play Geta Fenris Lupus Arun, we started calling them the Geta Fenrai. Yeah, you want to have... Yeah, the thing is you want to have the races... Yeah, they don't have to follow their cultural norms, but they at least have to be tied to them somehow, because that's how you rebel against your norm. It's like, okay, well, I'm a drow elf, and I'm rebelling against the fact that all of the drow back at my home are leather wearing sadomasochists with a with a superiority complex. And it's like, but if they weren't, you wouldn't have anything to rebel against. It's like, oh, I'm a drow, but I lived over here, and I actually don't know anything about the other drow because we're completely different. And it's like, but I'm still going to stop them. Why are you trying to stop them? You have nothing to do with them. It's like, it's like, well, it's like me. It's like, oh, I'm going to try to start, I'm going to fight against the Bedouin society. Why? I don't know. It just seems like everybody else is doing it. It seems like something to do. I don't know anything about them. I don't take, I've never actually met one. That's it's the whole without a rebel without a clue, a rebel without a cause. Yeah, the Waterdeep is the New York of D&D. It's like, that's why I like Thyattis City, where it's like the ancient Rome of D&D, where it's like, okay, we're all like doing stuff, and it's like, I'm going to play the the super special snowflake elf warrior maiden. Okay, they're all going to sit around. Okay, everybody's pointing at you. Everybody's staring at you as you walk down the street. You walk into the tavern, and everybody goes quiet because they've never seen one. They're interested in you. Don't get me wrong, but they're going to make all sorts of assumptions about you. They're going to ask you inappropriate questions. And some of them are actually going to try to poke you to see if you're actually real, or if you're, if your hair is actual gold, or if it's just, hair. You you don't want to make everybody the same. You want to make people different. Like, that's the whole point of, I don't know, telling a story. If you have two characters that are practically identical, why do you need both of them? Look at some of the best ensemble movies. Everybody is different. Everybody stands out. Oh, that just always bugged me. Especially with it's like, okay, well, you can just take your stat increase and bonuses and and put them anywhere you want to. Okay, so you're kicking the stat increase to class now. So all fighters get +2 to strength or +2 to dexterity. Usually dexterity, because who needs strength anymore? Everything's dexterity based. Okay, so we're going to be playing wizards, and we're all playing a different race of wizard. Let me guess, you all put your stat bonus in intelligence, every single one of you. Well, yeah, why wouldn't you? Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty cookie cutter, and that was one of the complaints with Strixhaven. I mean, hell, Strixhaven had backgrounds giving everybody spells, and now they've got the backgrounds for the 1D&D that says, okay, if you take this background, you get a spell. It's like, okay, what if you're playing in a low magic setting? Let me see. Did you hear about the Warhammer RPG Humble Bundle? Yes, I see Humble Bundles come out. Humble Bundles. Sorry, I grew up in Humble, Texas, so when I see Humble, I usually don't pronounce the H. So the Humble Bundle. Yeah, I see that occasionally. They'll just dump something. Actually, I got the Mutant Chronicles that way. Actually, I tried to get the physical copies of Mutant Chronicles when they lost the license, but everybody had sold out all the books. Granted, they were selling the hardbacks for $3 each. So I deserve not to get them because I took a day to start looking at it. Yeah, there was a lot of problems with Strixhaven. I could have made Strixhaven so much better, but that would require me to make jokes at people's expense, which you're not allowed to do that. Yeah. I owned a house near Humble, Texas in Spring, near Woodlands. Yeah, right down FM 1960, about 20 minutes. Lived in Spring for a while. That's why my first home invasion was in Spring. They stole my computer. It cost me 2 years of work. Let me see. Any thoughts on them messing up the spelling of Kryn or them changing the name of the world because Matt Mercer's Exandria has a faction called the Kryn Dynasty? What? They're renaming Kryn because somebody else later did a callback to Kryn. No, tell Matt Mercer to change his. That's stupid. That's going to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard them do. They're going to change the name of the planet because somebody else who in another setting in the same game used the same spelling. Yeah. That's just... Yeah, I think because they wouldn't change. You can't... That'd be like, okay, well, somebody else has used the word war, so we're going to have to change Star Wars. Let me see. The last time I saw Fist of the North Star... Fist of the North Star, I saw him on... that guy doing Fist of the North Star on Dragon Ball Z Revive, or Abridged, which I didn't really care for Dragon Ball Z, but the Abridged series had me laughing out loud. Yeah. Cringe Dynasty. Yeah, Strixhaven was a Magic expansion. And that was the problem with all of the Magic expansions. But they could have gone with a Magic expansion that let them go further or give them more to work with. I mean, that's just... Strixhaven was very restrictive on what they gave you. And it's like, I was like, okay, it's a Magic setting in a magical university. Okay, that's been done to death. It's the Harry Potter thing, but I mean, Harry Potter had stuff outside of Hogwarts. If you're gonna do Strixhaven, expand on it. Give us what's the rest of the planet like. That was one of the complaints I heard. That everybody was like, okay, well, what's everybody like outside of it? Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. I think they didn't cancel it so much as they said it's like they've told the jokes, and the second time around when they were trying to rewrite stuff, it just wasn't as funny as the first one. Though Dragon Ball Z did kind of drop off after the Cell saga. Hell, I got some high schools down here in Houston that are more dangerous than Strixhaven. Um, yeah, and they don't they don't go very far in the settings that they do give you. Um, and that was, I don't know why they wouldn't be doing that. It was like, I know they were doing a limited release schedule, and for a while they had the slowest release schedule outside of anything other than first edition, and I think that was only by one book. The first edition hardbacks and the fifth edition hardbacks were matching each other line for line. Um, let me see. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, we cook with Shinerbach down here. Uh, Now, would a planeswalker function in D&D? They've got several planeswalkers. I mean, that was the whole point of a D&D article where it was Elminster, it was Mordenkainen, and there was there was a wizard from, not Fistandanalis, but there was a guy from Dragonlance, and they would get together and drink and talk about, what it was like adventuring on other ones. Do I think that WotC is trying to make D&D into a PG-rated game? Oh, God, yes. Oh, God, yes. I mean, I put out my D&D art, and people people are talking and telling me, it's like, well, you can't have nipples. Why not? She's a chaotic evil sex demon. Well, you can't actually show violence. And it's like the characters, the characters in the art are never to be shown in any serious danger. They'll be running away. They'll be doing they'll be easily winning, or they'll be doing stuff like that. And you never get, like, there's a classic image from second edition where they're fighting a wizard with a gorgon on a bridge, and it is a knockdown, drag out slobber knocker with people getting blasted, people getting killed, and it was a great piece of art. But you don't see that anymore. You don't see that any of the 5th edition stuff. The 5th edition art is very generic, very formulaic, and it's just, they're afraid to take risks. But it's corporate. Corporations are afraid to take risks. Yeah. Let me see. You want to do the... Yeah. They're trying to balance martial characters with spellcaster characters. That's never going to work. Spellcaster characters at high level are always going to be better than martials. Because how many martials can say, all right, everybody standing in front of me, make a saving throw or die? Okay. Take care, Bear. I don't think chaotic evil sex demons really care what you think of them. It's like... Yeah, Hasbro was trying to mass market it, and the problem is it's always been a niche market. Always will be. It's a complicated game to get into. It's got a lot of rules. It's got hundreds of pages of rules. You've got miniatures, you've got dice, you've got all this stuff. You've got backgrounds of pages and pages of lore, and. So for some people, that is gold. That is solid gold. And for other people, that's more work than they care to get into. So you got to strike a balance. It's never going to be, you're not going to walk into, people. You're not going to walk into places, family reunions, and people are going to be sitting on the ground playing D&D more than they'll be playing Risk or Monopoly or Clue. I was like, D&D requires work. You just can't sit down and set stuff up. Though I got to go to I'm going to go visit some people with the Black Pants Legion, and if I don't bring a D&D game to play, they're going to make me drive back down to Houston and get it. And that's just something. I hope they make a decent game. I really want a decent game, but I'm also not. I don't know. I'm not optimistic. I keep telling them they hire me and I'll fix everything, but I don't think they want somebody like me. Because they want somebody that worked at Microsoft. They want somebody that knows how computer games work. Yeah, I remember people always tell me like Microsoft, or like not Microsoft, Monopoly is, like Monopoly is the most family wrecking game of all times. Like no, it's not. Monopoly will. And that's that one. Thank you, Insane Hippie. Let me see. Elminster trolling the nobility was high colonic fad was hilarious. Yeah, good old Elminster. Though I think in the last game that I played with him in, he had a heart attack during sex with Imowen. Because they tried to make Imowen and Elminster a thing for some time, and after Baldur's Gate 2, that was a weird one. It's like, hi, I'm I'm the old-fashioned, stand-in for Ed Greenwood, and it's like I'm all powerful and I'm everything. It's like, and this is my new hot pink pixie-haired girlfriend, Imowen, because she was in the latest popular thing. Oh, my internet has been acting up all day. Okay, guys. Yeah, that is a good time to... Okay, I'm having... OBS is having problems again, so I've been talking for an hour. I wish I could have made this better, but I don't know what's going on with OBS. I'm going to cut it short, because this has been the 7th time that it has stopped and restarted, and I don't know what the hell's going on. So I'll update it, and hopefully that'll fix it. And next time it won't take I won't be